So in this tutorial, we'll look at HTML forms, simple text box, a drop down, and some of the input items which is typically used in HTML forms. Let's get on. So let's design a student form here. It's a simple text box and some drop down and a button. So you have the body here. You see the body and the head tags are there and the HTML tags. So these are the basic tags of HTML. I think you would have known by now. So let's start to design how to make this form. You will have a text box, and so first I'm going to write the H2, which is the heading, and I'm going to type the text in between. You can follow the steps which I do basically, and here forms in the HTML learning. So this will appear on the right side once you save it. So and then form tag is the one which you have to remember for this one. So and form will have an action which you can put hash and then method. These are the two things which you have to remember. So method is post and action is hash. So you can close the tag and then you can give a label. So label form name, and then you can close the tag with the slash label and give the text which should be printed. So that is the name, or which you see on the right side. Then you give the input, which is the text box, and it's of type text. So it will take any text input. So that's what it's meant by text here. And then you give it an ID, which will be a unique identifier for that specific element in the HTML. And you give a name, and the name is same as name. So ID is name, and then the text which appears is also name. And required is like you have to fill in the field. So you tell the user that it's an obligatory field which has to be filled. So that's the keyword for required. So that's the basic two. The main things is form, action, method, post, and then input type text ID. So these are the two things. Label is quite normal, I think. So easy text. These are the tags which you have to remember in this tutorial. You can practice the same with different options so that you can understand how things work. So now I'm giving a label for gender, which you see on the right side. And select is a drop down element. So when I say select gender equal to name, the syntax basically gives you this drop down which you see for the on the right side of gender, where you have two options, male and female. So for that you use the tag select, and you close the tag select. So now you have two boxes here on the right side which I'll show. Then inside the gender I am going to give option. Option is male and female. So that's what I'm going to type here. So the option will take male value or a female value. That's how you do that. So male is male. This will be displayed on the right side. Then you have another option female. So for the select, you have to give the options inside, like sort of a nested structure. So that is the syntax of select, where you have a option and you can give even more options, but I've just done one. And the same applies for the select course. So now when I save, you see what is executed. So when I save, you see, so previous code was already, which I executed for test purposes. Now when I save, you see you have, now I copy paste it, so you'll get the similar one. Then I'm going to edit it to give a course list. and that's what you're going to see. So as I change and you save, the right side will be updated since it's a live view. Or if you're doing just with notepad, you can just control S, save it, and then double click on the right side and refresh the browser, then you will be able to see it. You don't need a Visual Studio, you can just use a notepad or a text editor. Just make sure that you are saving the file as .html, not as .text. So if you go to file, save as, and then select all files and then specify .html, then it will save as .html. So now I'm editing the same uh, drop down for a list of courses. So it's the same. So ID label is course, and then select ID will be course name, select will be the drop down box, and then I have three options: math, science, and English, which will come inside the drop down box. So now we have two set of drop down boxes. So now you see, once I save, you see the drop down boxes on the right side. Then I'm going to give another input, but this time the type is not text. Top you saw the input type was text for the name, but here if you say type is checkbox, then you'll have this checkbox sort of control item on the right side. So this I'm going to use for the agreement, which you see in typical front end any websites. You'll have this small checkbox, right? So this you will see here in the checkbox when you say input checkbox. So once I save it, this will appear on the right side. So you will give a label. So each component like text box or a drop down box needs a label so that the user knows what it is used for. So that's what we are coding now. So I put the text which is going to appear on that label. Just I agree to the terms and conditions or anything else which you want to type. And then another input type to say submit. So you have input three types we have seen: input type text, input type checkbox, and input type submit is for buttons. So basically you use the same user input is the input, and only the type changes. So you have checkbox or a drop down or anything, you just specify it in the type. And you see, once I save it, you see the form here. So this is how you build a basic form. So here you see the CSS file which I've already coded. I'm not going to detail about it, just comment it out to show you how it works when you have the CSS. So I'm going to uncomment it, and you see how this whole thing changes. So that's what CSS is used for, cascading style sheet. It gives you a style for the program. And so this is just to demonstrate how CSS changes the whole visual appearance of HTML. That's why I uncommented and commented it so that you'll be able to see it. You can either put the CSS in the same file or in different file, as I told in the previous videos, but here I put in the same file so that you'll be able to understand it better. So here you can enter values and then submit. So this is the front end code, so it won't work anything. So you need a back-end code. Once if you submit, what should happen, whether you want to connect to a database or whether you want to send this data to an Excel file, all this is back-end code which has to be developed, which is done either in Java or any other languages. So but what you saw here is basically the tags, label, form, input of different types, and select. So these are the important tags. What you do is you try to use the same code and then try to use it, execute the same thing what I did. And also you can add more and delete and select different types of inputs and then see how it works. So when you right click and say either inspect or view code, you will be able to see the code which is running in the browser. So that's what I'm doing, so that you know how you can sort of debug when there are some errors occurring. So here you see, once I point there, you'll be able to see the elements which will be useful once you're more into debugging and finding errors. So once you point your arrow on the specific items, you will be, this thing on the left side will be highlighted. So that's about it. So I hope you understood the HTML forms. It's a very basic introduction, and if you have any questions, do post it on the Q&A, or also leave a feedback so that I'll be able to improve the course. Thank you for selecting this course. Also check my other courses. I have a lot of free courses and some paid courses, and do check it and do give me a feedback. Thank you. Bye.